Is functions are mainly used along with conditional statements. They verify a particular condition and return true or false on the basis of that. For example, here in the first one, we are checking if the value is number or not. Since it was a number, it returned true. The next one is not a number, so it will return false. Is blank checks if the value is blank or not. Here the value is blank, so true was returned. When the value was not blank, it returned false. There are a bunch of other is functions like is even, is logical. Let's learn them with two real practical examples. You have a CSV file that you want to load into a table. The column age is integer in the database table. So the column age should ideally contain only integer values. Prior to loading, you want to verify that all values are correct, otherwise your load will fail. You can do that using isNumber function. Here all values that are integer will return true. Any value that contains text or is not an integer will return false. Another example is if you see a possibility of an error for a particular formula, you can replace that error with a proper value or a meaningful message. For example, here we are dividing 5 by 0. It's giving us divide by 0 error. If we plug this formula into our isError function, it will return true, indicating that this formula contains an error. Now if we think such a situation is possible, we can pair our if function with isError to populate 0 instead of displaying the error message. So we write equals to if isError 5 divided by 0, then instead of giving an error, we want 0 to be returned, so we will write 0. Else, if our calculation is fine, we will return the division of these two cells. When the denominator was 0, instead of giving an error, we got 0, while when the denominator was not 0, we got the correct value. We use isError so often with if that Excel came up with an ifError function which combines the two. So ifError takes our formula or value as input, and the second parameter is the value which should be returned in case the formula has an error. So we don't have to explicitly write both if and isError, and the formula gets simplified. Let's look at another example. Here we are finding a value in this list using the function VLOOKUP, which we will learn in the next section. So we will write VLOOKUP, the value we are searching for, the array in which the value is to be searched. We will return the second column and false for an exact match. If the customer is found, it will return the corresponding sales. But if the customer is not found, it will return #NA error. We will use ifError function here to replace this error with a text customer not found. So we will write ifError and then our VLOOKUP function, and as the second parameter we will write customer not found. Now instead of getting an error, we are getting a meaningful message as our output, which is the main purpose of the ifError functions. Verify if the value or formula has an issue and instead display a meaningful message. Hopefully this clarifies all your doubts related to isError or ifError functions.